Durante este otoño, la escuela voucher San Augustine Prep Academy abrió sus puertas. La creación de San Agustín ha despertado reacciones en contra por quienes apoyan la educación pública y que afirman que San Agustín tomará dinero público del ya limitado presupuesto del sistema de escuelas públicas de Milwaukee. Otros aspectos negativos son la falta de democracia y el que las escuelas privadas pueden rechazar la admisión de estudiantes con necesidades especiales. Por otra parte, otros dan la bienvenida a San Agustín, ya que la consideran una esperanza para el futuro de estudiantes menos privilegiados económicamente.
Do you need your Chromebook? Because you can look up more info.
What does a protractor measure? The angle, you guys sound awesome.
What we want to do is transform education on Milwaukee's South Side and make it a mecca for outstanding education.
Entrepreneur Augustine Ramirez founded last fall St. Augustine Preparatory Academy, located in the south side of Milwaukee, an area of the city that has a high population of Latinos. With an estimated investment of $85 million, this neighborhood school, says Ramirez, was built to create a national model based on high standards and accountability.
We have nothing against public schools. We are very supportive, but there's no accountability. And this accountability issue, which is the number one educational issue in Wisconsin, applies to public schools, charter schools, and voucher schools. And it's the number one thing. I've met with the governor 3 times on this issue. If we're going to make any progress in education, there has to be accountability. We can't be sending $8,000 checks to these voucher schools that have been performing poorly for 10, 15, 20 years. That makes no sense, either economically, public policy, and it's not good for the kids.
It's a private school that is qualified to receive public assistance in the form of what we call the voucher. The voucher is the public subsidy funded by taxpayers that funds the education of students to attend private schools. These schools exist in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, but there are a number of voucher programs in other cities and states around the country as well.
One concern about the creation of voucher schools is regarding democracy. Those who support public education think that parents, students, and teachers have more opportunities to make their voices heard, while in private education, curriculum content and other important aspects are dictated by the school's administration.
Public schools are not perfect, but they're a better option. They give us the opportunity to involvement and engagement to improve what's happening there and make them better so that our children, seeing us struggle for them, they are contaminated by that spirit of democratic engagement, and they become better human beings so that we have better politicians for the future.
So it really depends on what your definition of democracy is. Is democracy allowing parents choice and the opportunity to leave a public system to pursue a different type of education that has the public funding behind it for you to make that decision? Or is our idea of democracy having a fully funded public system that better supports the least resourced families by including the middle resourced families and the high resourced families as part of one big pot of children?
Another concerning aspect of the controversy between public education and private schools is on special education. While public schools are required by law to admit students with special needs, the voucher schools are not required to do so.
There are many private schools that accept vouchers and charter schools in this city that say, we would love to serve more special needs children. We don't have the resources to do that. We get less money than the public school systems do, so we can't serve these kids unless their needs are pretty minimal, and then we can include them. That's why you've seen the growth of the special needs voucher program in recent years, which offers much more money to private schools to accept more special needs children.
Public schools have the legal obligation to serve all children, regardless of their background, language, or ability. Private institution could receive a child with special needs, but they're not required to provide the supports that they need.
If you're a voucher school or a charter school, you take whatever students come in. You can't choose them. That's against the law. We're taking all special need kids that we can help. Now, there are some special need kids that we don't have the capabilities to help because we just don't have the staff to do that. But that's a small percentage.
Big one. There we go.
One of the worries that school vouchers impose is that teachers can be fired with no opportunities to appeal in the private system, having more chances to have justice in public schools. According to Ramirez, there's a misconception here, since having a school with such high educational standards cannot be successful by allowing ineffective teachers' performance.
I doubt there are 10 teachers that are fired for competency purposes in the whole of the Milwaukee public school system now. The union thinks that's great. But we have one of the poorest performing educational systems, and no one is fired for bad performance. No teachers, no principals. They all stay in. They all collect the check, and they continue to produce bad outcomes. If we have a teacher that doesn't perform, they'll be dismissed. Our hiring process is extremely rigorous. We pay them competitively. We look at teachers as professionals. They have to be professionally competent, they have to be superior in content knowledge, they have to be able to teach, and they have to be spiritually aligned with what we're trying to do.
And leap into the air, reaching for a berry. I actually had my son in school before, and it wasn't that good of an experience, especially for like me, that I'm a single mother and I want to be very involved in my son and his education. I didn't really get that from the school, so that's kind of what made me really love my son coming here, because it's the complete opposite. The staff is really involved with the students and with the parents.
According to Ramirez, he wants his school to be a great asset to the community by working with both students and parents to achieve the high standards and accountability desired by St. Augustine, and to be seen as a model example to other schools.
This is a very unique model. It's a model that we think can transform education. It's a model that will put pressure on all the schools around us to be better.
We reached out to Milwaukee Public Schools for a response, and here is their statement. We agree, all schools should be accountable, and MPS has been accountable to the community since its founding in 1846. MPS is making progress, as noted in the Wisconsin District Report Card that was released last month, and is no longer a school district that fails to meet expectations. Working together with our teachers, who are highly qualified and licensed by the state of Wisconsin, we are committed to the success of every child.
Para darle seguimiento a esta historia y obtener más información sobre el inicio de San Agustín Prep, por favor visite nuestro sitio del internet en milwaukeepbs.org.